Welcome back to another episode of Say What Needs to Be Said. I'm your host, Asante, Mr. Pick Six Samuel, two-time Super Bowl champion, Pro Bowler, All-Pro, record-breaking cornerback, and the last cornerback to intercept 50 interceptions during the 16-game season era. Yes, sir. Friday night vibes, baby. Welcome back to the show, man. We're going back-to-back nights. It is imperative that I had to jump on here after the night. Man, Shedeur Sanders, he showed off. He showed his tail. Man, how does it feel to be a hater and hating on someone? Blatantly hating on someone that you know good and well you have no reason to be hating on that person. All the critics that's criticizing Shedeur Sanders and saying this about him and all these disparities and bad things about him is just crazy. Because they know good and well they only hating on him because of the association and his family. We all know he's a hell of a talent, man. We're going to get into this thing and we're going to turn up. We're going to have a good time, baby. Shedeur Sanders, the legend of Shedeur Sanders, has started, baby. Throw it up, baby. Throw it up. Man, at the end of the day, man, the Cleveland Browns has created a very unique situation at quarterback, baby. And it's not going how the Browns expected it to. In my opinion, the Browns didn't expect it or wanted it to go in this direction. Now there will be a media frenzy surrounding the team, the Cleveland Browns, all because for some reason, Shedeur Sanders made it to the 5th round of the NFL draft. So many questions moving forward about quarterback and what will Shedeur Sanders' status be on the depth chart moving forward, because we want to know loud and proud. We have to hear and see what is going on moving forward. So let's talk about it. Let's talk about it. Everyone has been waiting for this moment or that moment. Shedeur Sanders took the field for the Cleveland Browns. Yes, goodness, we have been waiting for that moment. And it has came. There were so many different narratives being created on how the Cleveland Browns were going to handle Shedeur Sanders or were handling Shedeur Sanders. People were saying the Browns were trying to sabotage his career. He didn't get enough reps in practice, etc. So on and so forth. He's playing with the 3, 4s, and 5s. He's throwing to the equipment managers and the ball boys. Guess what? None of that matters to a baller, to a bona fide baller. You can't hold him back. I lived it. I've been through it. I've walked that exact shoe that you can't hold ballers back. Waiting to watch this game, man, kind of felt like I was waiting to watch a regular season primetime game. Man, I was so excited. I was so locked into the TV. I can tell you, play for play, series for series, how Shedeur Sanders handled his opportunity to start in his first preseason game tonight was absolutely amazing. Clap it up for Shedeur Sanders in the chat. Throw it up the 12, throw up the 12s, throw up legendary, throw up everything that Shedeur represents, because we should support Shedeur Sanders and the Sanders family. First off, I love Shedeur confidence before and during the game. Before and during the game. He isn't changing who he is or his swag since playing with his father, just because he was a 5th round draft selection. He ain't changing none of that. No. Check him out, walking in. Ain't no volume, because I don't want him to take the video down. But just check out the swag. Check out the confidence. You know he playing his song. Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Confidence, baby. Confidence. That's him. I wanted y'all to see the confidence of Shedeur Sanders walking in. Now, why is it that Shedeur Sanders is started in this game tonight and none of the starters played with him tonight? I just don't grasp that concept. I really want to know, and I'm concerned. I really Genuinely want to know why no other starters played tonight. If some played, let me know. Maybe I'm wrong. Now, let me guess. Next preseason game, when Dillon Gabriel and Kenny Pickett are ready to play, that's when the starters will be ready to go. And they will be tossed into play just as Kenny Pickett and Dillon Gabriel. Is that the plan? But don't worry. It doesn't matter to Shedeur and the adversity he has to deal with, because ballers find a way to get it done. All the negative indicators that was wrongfully put on Shedeur Sanders during the pre-draft process to drive his stock down was proved to be wrong tonight. Every indicator, everything they tried to make a big deal was proved to be wrong tonight. He was criticized for not being athletic or mobile, unable to escape defenders. And guess what? He did a great job of that tonight, making players miss, escaping defenders. Those exact same things he did at the University of Colorado with his pops. Shedeur patting the ball is not an issue. He still gets the ball out quickly, especially when it's necessary against the blitz or short, quick passes. That's what he did tonight. He still patted the ball, but he got the ball out quicker. And that's a non-issue that was made a big deal just because his name was Shedeur Sanders. Now, let's check out Shedeur Sanders' numbers for the night. Shedeur Sanders, 14 for 23, a total of 138 yards, an impressive 2 touchdowns, 106.8 passer rating. That's top 10 each week, maybe top 5, top 6, top 7. That is top every week leading up in the regular season. Every week, top 10, he will make top 10 with that. And you see with that 0, that's the most impressive stat of them all. You see that 0. Yes, you see that 0. Shedeur had an awesome night, man. Jeez. Man, I was so invested into this game. Shedeur had an awesome night, man. I know everybody was invested in this game just like I was. We all support Shedeur, and we recognize what has happened to this young man. But he looks like a natural out there, getting that ball out quick, making good decisions, and finding his rhythm, making it his way. Yes, he's talked about that in the press conference and after the game and stuff like that. He wants to continue to grow and get better and do things how he sees it and wants to do it. That's about getting comfortable. Like I said, that best stat that we just saw that I just brought up there, 0 interceptions, 0 turnovers by Shedeur Sanders and the offense. As a defensive player, the number one goal going into the game is to win the turnover battle. And the Cleveland Browns won that tonight. That is huge. All right, the first series for Shedeur was pretty cool, right? 1 completion and 1 incompletion. We can't expect much out of these receivers now that he's playing with, that he played with. Because I think that incompletion wasn't that bad of a throw. It wasn't the best throw, but it wasn't that bad of a throw. It was more of a lack of a catch on the receiver's part, or that receiver, I think it was Deontay Johnson, didn't create separation. Now, short yardage means tight, short, physical coverage, right? But Shedeur settled in quickly as the head ninja in charge for the Cleveland Browns. Second series, Shedeur saw man-to-man coverage. He saw the names on players and their numbers on the back of them jerseys. And guess what he did? He took off for the first down. That is the easy indicator to let a quarterback know there's nobody to be in front of him to stop him from easily to make that first down. That is great awareness, understanding the situation and what needed to keep the drive alive by Shedeur Sanders. He did that. Just imagine if Shedeur was playing with the first team unit tonight. It would have been more impressive because it looks to me like the Carolina Panthers had their first team unit out there. Shedeur was playing with the twos against the ones. Maybe Carolina had, maybe they didn't have all their ones out there, but they had a lot of starters out there. Starting with the quarterback. And if we want to go there, yes, Shedeur Sanders outplayed Carolina's Panthers, Bryce Young. And on that 4th and short play in the 4th quarter, Shedeur, yes, has to get rid of the ball, which he eventually did. But it just needs to be a little quicker. If we're being critical, when he was drifting back, and, trying to be creative, that was in the beginning of the game. He's filling it out, right? Yes, he has to get rid of the ball and he has to stop drifting back. Yes, that can lead to sacks in the future, something he has to work on. We all understand that. We all get that. Shedeur Sanders' first deep pass of the game. It didn't quite seem accurate. Far out of bounds to the right. But the receiver, again, Deontay Johnson, did a bad job. Basically, he got D'd up, impressed man-to-man coverage, and didn't give Shedeur Sanders a place to throw the ball. The ball, he was trying to put it to the direction that the receiver was going, and he was getting manhandled, jammed out of bounds. And then the most important part of the game, which is situational football, right? And part of that is turnover on downs. Turnover on downs for the Browns, right? In the red zone. They have the ball on their goal line, right? 1st and goal at the 10-yard line. I don't know in that series what play exactly it was. Shedeur Sanders delivers his first touchdown in NFL action. Yes, he delivers his first touchdown in NFL action. And we're going to watch. What I was so impressed with on that play was his patience and confidence on that play. There wasn't a clear path for Shedeur Sanders to make an easy decision, but he had the confidence in himself to deliver a risky pass to Caden Davis for a touchdown. Oh, man. When I say truly beautiful, it was absolutely, truly amazing. Confidence, that confidence. Do your thing, bro. Do your thing. The legend of Shedeur Sanders. If it hadn't started before tonight, it has started tonight. Man, tonight was such a great job by Shedeur Sanders on so many different levels, right? So many different levels. Yes. And on that particular play, that pass was so impressive because he had to deliver that pass with all different colors around him, around his wide receiver. Just like he did at Colorado. He stood in there and delivered a strike. Shedeur did a great job, man. In the most important parts of the game, that situational football, like I talked about. It's most important for the offense. It's so important for the offense to capitalize when the defense or special teams create a turnover. That's exactly what Shedeur and the Cleveland Browns did on both possessions, both turnovers, right? They created 2 turnovers, if I'm not mistaken. One on special teams and one on defense. An interception and then a muff punt return. Y'all let me know if I'm wrong, chat. 12! I see y'all in the chat. Throw them up, 12. Legendary. Man. And let me tell you, in the NFL, I don't care what the situation is. It's not easy to score touchdowns in the NFL, no matter where you at on that football field. Shedeur handled every situation, all those situations like it was a walk in the park for that young man. You know what I mean? It didn't look like we were watching some rookie quarterback with his first time in action. It looked like we was watching someone that was supposed to be or was or is the first pick of the NFL draft or a top 5 pick. maybe been in the NFL 2 or 3 years. That's how posed and poised he looked. Confident. He didn't look rattled. He didn't look like anything bothered or affected him tonight out there on that field. He looked like he was prepared for every situation. And then on 3rd down and 8, backed up in their own end zone, what does Shedeur do? He delivered a strike on an end-breaking route to Cage Lavardian to not only give his team the first down, but to get out of a bad field position. It's a game of chess. Who can get the best field position? And how can you gain that field position? The best part from that series or those series of plays, right, was Shedeur had to convert a 3rd down and short before he converted the first down. That is the most impressive part of that rookie quarterback, to convert that 3rd and short consecutive, right? He had to convert a 3rd and short consecutively. I think it was a 3rd and short, then it went to like a 3rd and 6, 3rd and 7. The first time he converted, then boom. If it was a penalty on the play get called back. Illegal formation or something like that. But he converted that first down. He backed up. You have to do the same thing over again, Shedeur. He converts again, delivers that strike, that end-breaking route to Gage Lavardian, right? That was very impressive to me. That was very impressive. Yes, Shedeur Sanders converted on all of the turnovers tonight, man. Very impressive. At the end of the day, this young man, Shedeur, does not represent what a 5th-round draft pick looks like at all. It's not even close. At the end of the day, it's not even close. And I can't wait for those other rookie quarterbacks and sophomore quarterbacks to get out here in preseason and show what they can do. Because there's going to be a lot of criticism all across the board. And I can't wait to see. There is no one that was drafted this year, I will bet my bottom dollar, that will look anything close to what Shedeur looked like tonight. In Shedeur's first opportunity in NFL of decision-making, situational football, Shedeur was a natural. He was a natural. And the player of the game, should I play the player of the game? And here is, man, he's out there having fun, like he said, moving the pocket, moving around. It's like he has the bad guys chasing. Did you hear him in the press conference? He was saying, man, it was fun out there having those guys chase me around. He had a big smile on his face. That is genuine. That is very genuine. That's the young man speaking about him loving this game. And I see what he means, man. They took me out early and I was just having fun, because he didn't really get to feel what it really feels like in a big Myles Garrett comes and tackles him and sacks him and lays on him. Yeah, he's going to get used to it and feel it. Like he did on one of those plays he ran. He was supposed to slide, but he took a hit. I know that was him. Like, all right, I got to take this hit. I got to see what it feels like. I got to see if I can take this NFL contact. I know I can take it, but I need to feel it. And he did that, But moving forward, get a little sip of water. Asante, y'all drink this minerals, not just water. You got to get some minerals, some electrolytes up in you, all that good stuff. Hold on. Y'all tell him I'm ready. I'm ready to represent. Let him know. Mr. Pick 6, future Hall of Fame, 50 interceptions. Yeah. Now, what everyone wants to know, at Mr. Pick 6, I want to know, and I will make a big fuss. I'm known for making headlines. I'm known for going viral. And I don't mind. The question now is, where does the Browns go from here? Where do the Cleveland Browns go from here? Chat, do they make Shedeur the starter? Or do they move him up on a depth chart? Which one is it? Because something better happen. Something has to happen. Do they make him the starter? Like I said in my previous videos, I said go ahead and make him the starter because you have nothing else behind him. You know what I mean? So make Shedeur the starter. Let him gain the confidence of his teammates and watch how his abilities on, not just on the field, but off the field, take over a struggling organization and help better an economy up there in Ohio. Give Shedeur Sanders the same amount of reps next week against the Eagles in that preseason game. And let him continue to grow and cook and gain that confidence he needs. Because he has what it takes. I know the Cleveland Browns has those tough decisions to start making. That I said, Shedeur Sanders is going to make them make. Andrew Berry, Kevin Stefanski, they have some issues to deal with. Some tough decisions. Because they put all the eggs in the basket on Dillon Gabriel. Because he is the first quarterback taken. If Shedeur was the favorite, he would have been the first quarterback taken. And that isn't the case. That isn't what we're dealing with here. The first quarterback taken didn't have to play tonight or prove himself. It looks like he doesn't have to prove himself at all. He's going to be on that team, regardless. They all are, especially the two rookies. That's what I'm talking about, man. Shedeur is a fan favorite, and he can change the whole scope of the economy out there in Cleveland, just like his pops did, Coach Prime in Colorado. It's real. He's already did it with his jersey sales. There are so many different reasons to give Shedeur Sanders the key to the car with total control and let him do what he been doing since his days at Jackson State. Give him the keys. Name him the starting quarterback. This is the only scenario that makes sense. Why continue to force Joe Flacco to be the starter? Where does that lead the team to? Yeah, the idea sounds good. Joe Flacco will give you some quality reps and quality games and things like that. But where does that lead you to? Joe Flacco right now is a good quality backup. Yes, a great quality backup. But that's the farthest I would take it. You look over there in Indianapolis. Shedeur can go over there and start right now. Look 10 times better as Daniel Jones and Anthony Richardson. And that's a fact. Now, where does the Cleveland Browns and the decision makers go from now? Because when these preseason games are being played, right? The point of these preseason games are for coaches and decision makers to look for bright spots in these games, to build off of, and the bright spot in this game is clear as day. There is no one else to look at until you get past this bright spot. You understand? Again, Dillon Gabriel is the first quarterback taken. So it will be interesting how they handle this scenario. I wonder, does the Browns still feel the same way they did for Dillon Gabriel as they did during the draft? When teams were calling to trade for him, but was told Dillon Gabriel is off limits. If y'all seen my previous video, yes. It was reported that the Cleveland Browns was receiving calls about Dillon Gabriel and they turned him away. Yes, they turned him away. Yes, that's the truth. That's the truth. That sucks. Now, I know other teams who drafted quarterbacks before Shedeur has to be sick to their stomach watching this game tonight. Because they know what they have doesn't look like Shedeur. Not even close. And training camp has been going. There has been a lot of reps in football. And for some reason, it looked like the Carolina Panthers were playing their second unit. I know that was the first unit, but it looked like that's the second unit. They need a lot of help over there in Carolina. I'm not saying Shedeur he played against the best competition, but it was competition, and it's in the NFL. And he looks better than all of those other quarterbacks. Now, we talked about all the great things about Shedeur Sanders and what he did tonight. I wouldn't be Asante, Mr. Pick Six Samuel, and this wouldn't be Say What Needs to Be Said if we didn't try to figure out some of the negative things that he can work on. And I remember backed up to his end zone, there was a little pressure coming. He had to roll out to the right. It was a wide open, I think, his fullback or tight end. He was kind of pushing the ball because he was so wide open. You want to make sure you perfectly deliver those passes and you kind of push it and force it. And it was a bad throw. And then that led to third down and long when that could have, made that series turn into third and short. So that was one of the bad things I saw out there, along with the drifting and so on and so forth. Everyone, every quarterback, every player that steps on the NFL field will have critiques against him after the game is over. There's no way around it. Shedeur Sanders had 50 snaps tonight, or he was supposed to play 50 snaps. If he played 50, whatever he played, he did a hell of a job with those snaps. I didn't get the correct snap count, but like I said, he went 14 for 23, 138 yards. If he did all of that in 50 snaps, very, very impressive. They got the victory. So salute to my guy, Shedeur Sanders. Chat, how we doing out there, baby? See Marlon, man. I see my dude, see my guy Marlon in the building. Breon Mitchell. Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Yes, ma'am. NFL owners. I can't read that. Can't read that one. Can't read that one. But yeah, man, 12. I see all the 12s. That's what let me put a few 12s up there. Yes, sir. Go up to 12. Shedeur. You see, I had to get dressed up tonight for the legendary Shedeur. I had to put the, put the ice on, put, rocks to wrist. Now, against the Eagles next week, if Shedeur Sanders is afforded the opportunity to be the starter of the game for the next preseason game, which he should be against the Philadelphia Eagles, how do you think he will handle that pressure? That front four, that front seven, they are relentless. That is a total different dynamic of defense, right? It's two different dynamics of football games. Obviously, you can prepare for these situations. You can prepare different plays, design plays to stop that pressure, but it will be a different challenge. It's just levels to it. Definitely hope he gets the opportunity. He needs it. They have to give him that opportunity to continue to show that he can prove that he belongs to be the starter for the Cleveland Browns. That's only right, man. So shout out to the Cleveland Browns. Shout out to Shedeur Sanders and all the sabotaging, all the negative hoorahs and speculations. Even myself, I was speculating and I was wondering how Shedeur Sanders was going to be handled. I thought the play calling or something, might have been sabotaged to try to hold Shedeur Sanders back. But we can X any of that out of our thoughts and minds and things like that, because he was given a fair opportunity. He did a hell of a job. They ran the ball properly. They threw short, quick passes to give him a good rhythm, like they said he did in college. And he even had his chance and shots at deep passes down the field. So Everything was pretty copacetic. No complaints on my end. I don't think no one is going to have too much to complain about. Only one that will have something to complain about, like we've been hearing already, is pretty much himself. He's going to be his hardest critique and his hardest critic, and that's how it should be, you know? And it's Friday Night Vibes. Say what needs to be said. It's your host, Asante, Mr. Pick Six Samuel, future Hall of Famer. I feel it, man. This year might be the year they put Eric Allen in there, another Philadelphia Eagle. Hey, now I'm going to be able to add on Hall of Famer to that title sooner or later. But one day it will happen. I appreciate y'all. Y'all keep supporting. Hey, before y'all go, y'all make sure y'all smash that like button, man. Nobody's giving y'all a perspective like Mr. Pick Six, giving y'all that raw, uncut, unfiltered perspective. I'm breaking it down. I'm going play for play. I'm giving you series, everything you need to know about Shedeur Sanders. And yes, you know he looked awesome. Make sure y'all like that. Make sure y'all tear that like button up. Make sure y'all share, and make sure y'all keep spreading the word. Say what needs to be said. We headed to the top. Hey, I love y'all, man. Hope y'all love back. See y'all next time.